We are having technical difficulties. One moment, friends. See, I don't know if you can hear me, but for some strange reason, my video is not up and running. So I am going to be right back. Thank you for your patience. Okay. I hope that you can now hear and see me. My apologies. I attempt to try going online and checking microphone and all that stuff live a little bit earlier, but hence there were still some problems. So thank you for your patience. I greatly appreciate you. This is Megan here with Core3 Harmony and Wellness Services. And I'm the creator and founder of Core3. And I would like to speak with you today for a little bit of time. But before I get to all that, some introductory information to share. Here at Core3, we provide services in 3 areas. That is music therapy, counseling, and coaching. Here at Core3, I provide services to children all the way up through older adults. And I provide services via in-person as well as virtually via telehealth. And here at Core3, we are just so appreciative for your time and your attention right now. If you are interested in any of these services or have been looking for someone, particularly either counseling or coaching, and would like to even just know or learn a little bit more specifically about music therapy, please reach out and schedule a complimentary consultation where you can learn about the many benefits of the services that we offer and provide. Happy Tuesday. Here in the States, this is election day. So I thought it was very fitting to discuss how to deal with sudden life changes. Not just because it's election day and there's so many voices out there sharing information about that, so you don't need to hear it from me, but because we are truly, I believe, and have been for a while, in this big transition period of many changes on so many different levels. And some of that has been, of course, outside of our control. And some of it has been on our part of us understanding that we need to do something different. There is a change or change of our participation in life that needs to be made. I think about this as we move forward today. Change is necessary when the current circumstances no longer work. Change is necessary when the current circumstances no longer work. And so for many of us, I find that we are pivoting based off of that particular statement, all in leaning in to what's more beneficial and efficient for us in our life. Whether that's moving to a different job, changing jobs, moving to a different location, making changes in our relationship, ending some relationships, starting some relationships, choosing to actually just get to know ourselves and not participate in a relationship right now. So I think the information that we will be sharing today is going to be very beneficial for you. My apologies. I wasn't able to get up a fancy little display for you to highlight the main points, but I will share them with you here today. And if you would like and finding that you are in need of support, please reach out to me. All of the information on how to reach me is found in the description box below. But first, much gratitude to all of you who are and maintain and continue to be subscribers. I so appreciate you. Please provide an offering that doesn't cost you a thing, a thumbs up on this video. I'd greatly appreciate it. As well as if you are brand new here and you just decided to stop in and hear what I had to say, thank you. But also, please subscribe. My goal is to go live every Tuesday, noon Pacific Standard Time, with a topic that sometimes I feel is coming up consistently when I'm working with people that I'm like, you know what? I know it's not just happening here. This is potentially happening to many others. So I share there as well as some discussions and topics that I am being imparted or downloaded with that's important to speak about or speak on. So for today, our discussion is how to effectively deal with sudden life changes. Please subscribe. Please keep tabs because some things suggested here, it's going to lean into the next couple of live streams that I will be discussing. Okay, so first and foremost, if you are here, I do not believe it is an accident. I believe that you were being prompted and pulled to watch this video for a reason, okay? That being said, let's talk about our headquarters. For anyone that may be watching me or anyone that I'm working with, hopefully you like this, that you will find I'm, for the most part, fairly consistent across the board. And my terminology, you'll start to get and grab and get to know. Mm-hmm. So what I do want to share is that we got to start with the headquarters. That starting with our headquarters is essential. Headquarters is our brain. Okay. But before I get there, think about this. Life can change suddenly, and when things change, a lot of negative emotions tend to come with it. So I want to say this up front. If you find that you are in a place where you are in need of support, please reach out and get the support. There's so many different avenues and different ways to do that now that don't allow yourself to keep yourself stuck. Okay? Don't allow yourself to keep yourself stuck in a place that's not healthy or efficient or effective for you. Okay? Uncertainty, stress, anxiety, helplessness, fear, those are just to name a few of emotions that can pop up. If these things are left unchecked, they most likely will persist, and they can take a very heavy toll on both our bodies and our minds. So, how can we manage changes? The only thing constant is change. How can we manage changes effectively, efficiently, and in a healthy way? So let's start with the headquarters, okay? Our headquarters, our brain, is a very powerful tool, and it can be used for good or bad. And in an instance of change, we sometimes, without realizing it or not, are hardwired to shift in one direction or the other, usually the negative. Okay. Dr. Pillay, who is an assistant professor of psychiatry at Harvard School of Medicine, stated that when there's change, the conflict sensors in the brain become activated, and this causes the brain chaos. We can call this cognitive dissonance. This activation of conflict soon can become very stressful to us, not just to our minds, but to our whole being, our bodies. So, cognitive dissonance is that uncomfortable feeling that you get when you try to maintain two inconsistent beliefs at the same time, or when you believe in one thing but act in a contradictory way. For example, with the virus, many of us knew that things had to change and they were changing drastically, but our brains struggled initially to really believe it. This discrepancy and conflict of feelings within us caused many people, and is still causing trouble today, cause a lot of stress and induced and increased anxiety, as well as depression. So how do we deal with sudden changes efficiently and effectively? It is important to know that a negative reaction to sudden changes, especially outside of your control, outside of your will and want, negative reaction is normal. It's even more vital to accept that this is just an initial reaction as the brain processes what's been thrown at it. It can be very easy to stay within this spiral, especially if you have the personality type that prefers the status quo over seeking novelty, but this is very detrimental to our mental health. To help our brain adjust to any sudden change in our life, a change that is causing us turmoil, here are a few strategies I wanted to share with you today that I believe will help. Now, as you see me looking down, I'm looking down at notes. Okay. First and foremost, many of these pointers derive from a particular therapy approach called ACT, which is acceptance and commitment therapy. And it's a very wonderful, unique approach that allows you to become more flexible and understanding and compassionate with your thoughts and how your mind operates. Okay. So number one, don't try to fight whatever is happening, whatever changes are occurring. Accept it. Acceptance is the magic that makes change happen. Instead of resisting, fall into flow. And flow is so very important. That is the essence of what I lean towards and work towards living in every moment of my day. I find when I talk to myself, I'm like, okay, Megan, how are you flowing into the situation? I find that to be very helpful and beneficial for myself to adjust my perspective on things. Suffering is what occurs when we resist what is already happening. That is so good, I must say it again. Suffering is what occurs when we resist what is already happening. So naturally, the best way to deal with it is to stop fighting and start accepting. This is way easier said than done. All right, I totally get that. Way easier said than done. Initial resistance to change is an evolutionary response within us as our brain shifts into protective mode. Like everything, however, with some training, our brains can learn to accept change and adapt to a different routine. Okay, I hope you can hear me. Okay. Really quickly, I want to check my volume here, if you don't mind. As I've got a variety of different things here. Sure. You might hear feedback. Okay. Yes, you can hear me. Perfect. Okay. Okay, so within us, our brains shift into protective mode. Our brains shift into protective mode. Like everything, however, with some training, our brains can learn to accept change and adapt to a different routine. Rather than wishing things were different, try flowing with this change of circumstance. And this is where a mindfulness-based practice is key, because this next advice says you can do this by focusing on the present moment. Mindfulness-based practices, that is the MO of mindfulness-based practice, is immerse yourself in the present moment. And the next thing, focus on things that you can control. Your self-care, what you can do. Okay, focus on those things. That was number one. Number one was accept. Accept the changes that are occurring. Don't fight it. Number two, remind yourself that even good change can cause stress. For example, here's some examples of good changes. A promotion, going off to a university or school, buying a house, having a baby. Some of these changes are wonderful, but they can also be considered stressors as well. So if these same conflict sensors are activated, can we deal with positive change better? Most people can cope with sudden changes if they're considered positive purely because of their mindset. When we have the right perspective, we can channel our stress into being proactive, which eventually helps us get through the anxious and uncertain times. Okay, adjusting your perspective on the situation is key, is huge. And the power you have in this moment is your attitude. Okay? Your attitude can become your altitude. Your attitude can become your altitude. Okay? Our brain automatically expects the worst. We have a tendency to lean a greater percentage of the time towards the negative, or on the negative or downside of things. Okay, so how do we deal with a sudden change that is negative? Recognize that our brains will go in an automatic negativity bias. Okay? So recognize what's happening, redirect, and then reframe. Okay? So recognize that, oh, I've slipped into the negative bias. The next awareness that I need to step into is redirecting. Uncertainty by repeating neutral self-talk phrases out loud. This is where your own talk, how you speak to yourself, is very important. Uncertainty simply means I don't know the future. It does not mean the future is bad. Or feeling uncertain doesn't mean the future is negative. It just means I don't know what it holds at this moment. This is called CBT, okay? So, cognitive behavioral therapy, another therapeutic approach that is utilized if you are in therapy or thinking about going therapy. These are some approaches that therapists will use. It's approaches that I utilize as well. Just cognitive behavioral therapy, ACT, which I mentioned earlier, acceptance commitment therapy, and DBT, dialectical behavioral therapy. Okay. So in CBT, the goal is helping you to redirect those thoughts, those negative thoughts, And then the next step is to reframe your perspective. Focus on positive details as much as possible and try to find an opportunity or lesson in the situation. So I'm finding it an opportunity and or a lesson in the situation that I'm experiencing. Okay, so number 2 was remind yourself that even good change can be stressful. We have a greater percentage of our minds that will revert towards the negative when it comes to any kind of change. And what we need to do, if the sudden change is something that is negative that's happening in our life, we need to recognize it. Recognize that our brains are automatically going to shift towards a negative bias. 2 is redirected. That's utilizing cognitive behavioral therapy tools. And 3 is reframe your perspective. Find the opportunity or the lesson within the event that has occurred. Okay, step number 3 is make a plan. How do you deal with sudden changes that brings uncertainty and anxiety with it? Take control of what you can. Okay? There are so many worries and causes of stress. So instead of hiding under the covers and trying to see what happens, think about what you can control to ease it. Make a plan and set yourself some goals or intentions. Intentions are utilized because you don't want to put too much pressure on yourself during an already stressful time. Setting some goals, however, will help you feel in control of your life again. So what do you intend to do? Do you want to focus on self-care? Do you want to focus on your business at the time? Whatever it is, be specific and add actual time to it. Another one of these is, if you've heard of it, is establishing a SMART goal. It is measurable, achievable, reachable, and has a time. Okay? So those are potential SMART goals. But however you want to look at it, small, something, I always inform folks I'm working with to make a small promise to yourself. Sometimes that can be a little bit more helpful to step into than goals or objectives. It sounds like there's a lot of work behind it, but if I'm making a promise to myself, it's almost like leaning into a reward. I'm looking forward to doing this thing. Okay, so number 4 is keep up your regular schedule as much as possible. Now, when change happens, it can make an impact on your current schedule, your current way of life, or whatever you're doing. As much as you possibly can, try to keep as much of whatever that schedule is for yourself as consistent as possible. Like, say, for example, if you get up at a certain time, even though this particular change may be happening, and it's all about maintaining a sense of consistency and normalcy, even though you're impacted by a significant change. Okay. Number 5, exercise. We must move our bodies. We are meant to be mobile. We are not meant to be sedentary. So I always tell my clients 30 minutes a day. Break that up however you need to. 15 minutes of movement in the morning or exercise in the morning, and another 15 minutes at night. That's the minimum. Okay? Move your body. Okay? A body that is not moving or immobile is a body that is most likely susceptible to pain and aches, and we don't want that. So move your body. Eat as healthy as you possibly can. And I know when we're stressed, we go towards the comfort foods, and many of those are not very healthy. But think of treating yourself really, really good and being really, really kind, even with the food that you put in your body. Have a self-care plan. Somewhere down the road, we'll talk about self-care routine or kit that you should have for yourself, that you should really be intentional and think about, okay? We're running around, we're burnt out, we're helping everybody else, we're seeing to everyone else's needs, and usually our own needs are put last. And we cannot do that. We have to take care of ourselves first, and then we can take care of all of the other stuff that we have going on, other responsibilities, much better and more efficiently and effectively. Okay. So here's some things that can potentially help as part of the self-care with sleep is one, having a mindfulness-based activity that could include meditation, moving your body, exercising at least 30 minutes a day, and actually journaling. It's good to have a space to just get thoughts out, to relieve the headquarters from all of the pressure of thoughts that you have going on throughout your day. And we have on average over 10,000 thoughts a day. More than that. Probably I want to say pushing closer to 20-something thousand thoughts a day. That's a lot. We need to dump some of those out, which is why I like, sometimes I'll have folks I'm working with do a dump journal. Just dump out stuff. Free form writing. There's no specific format. Get it out of your head. And please seek support. Like I was sharing when I first started, seek support. There's so many different avenues to get support nowadays. Do not deny yourself the support. Everybody needs help at some point in time. There's no need to be ashamed of it. If there is shame around that for you, please know that there are ways in which you can work around that and to help pull yourself outside of the shame of asking and seeking out help. And at some point, I feel that that is going to be a good discussion to talk about as well. Because I know there are a lot of people that I interact with that a tool that we all have is asking for help. And for some people, it hasn't been the best experience. And for other people, because of that, it's just they've caused more harm to themselves because they did not ask for help or seek out support. Okay, so that was number 8, seek out support. Get proactive. Being proactive is a stress reliever. If you have your routine ticking along and you want to feel empowered, think about what you can take charge of now to help you in a better position later, which is why I was discussing having together a self-care toolkit. We got toolboxes, we've got first aid kits, we've got all these little things around to help us in case we need it. Why not have self-care tools at the ready available? Okay. When we'll talk about, of course, there are tangible tools and the invisible tools that are helpful, coping tools. And so we'll dive into that for the self-care kit part. Turn venting into action. While venting is great, this is number 10 for support and not feeling alone, it can get detrimental if people around you are just solely venting all the time. This negativity and panic, it can be contagious. Positive social support of high quality can enhance resilience, not just can, but it does, enhance resilience to stress. So this is why seeking out to get that support, usually from someone outside of potentially the mess that we're in, is so beneficial and helpful. Okay, if you need to delegate or outsource tasks, okay, you do not have to take on doing everything and accomplishing everything and being responsible of all of these things yourself. Okay, And it is also healthy and beneficial to allow others to be of help as well. Okay. Number 12, build in brain breaks. When we're trying to cope with feelings and intense feelings of uncertainty and unease, our focus is going to be affected. We are not going to be as productive as we were used to. So instead of trying to fight through the rough days, accept it and build in breaks for your brain. It could be something as much as 30 minutes. This is why it's important when I get to know people. I like to know what they enjoy doing. What do they find joyful? It's not related to responsibilities at home. It's not related to responsibilities and duties at work. It's like, what do you do with your free time when you have time, when it's just you, when you can do for you? What is it that you like to do? Okay. Drawing, painting, playing music, dancing, sewing, knitting, crocheting, cooking. Find those things that you enjoy. Life is meant to be enjoyed. Okay, and this one, number 13, focus on gratitude. We're going to lean in and dive into the next couple of weeks, especially here in the States. We're getting ready to celebrate Thanksgiving, and giving thanks is something that we need to implement every day. It's not just like this one-time holiday during the year. It's acts and practices of gratitude we are most benefited from when they happen on a regular basis, okay? So gratitude is the next thing. Focus on gratitude, focusing on the positives that are occurring in your life. If it is coming up and this sudden change happens to have been a loss of something or someone, it is beneficial, this is tip number 14, to deal with any grief or loss. And for some people, talking with someone through their stages of grief and loss is very beneficial, and everyone grieves differently. So if you find that you are having significant issues and really struggling with it and noticing that it's affecting other areas of your life, please seek out and get help. Okay. Take a step back from social media and the news. And man, haven't we been needing to do that lately? Pull back. We are in a society, in a world now where, even I get myself caught up in it, and I'm like, okay, let me use the coping tools. Let me use the skills that I preach. Let me practice what I preach. Let me pull away from this for a while. And we have to take a step back. We're just so bombarded with so much information, and we really don't need that much access. We don't need as much access as we have been partaking with, I want to say, the past decade. We just don't. And so if you find you're in a place where it is causing you to be irritable and highly frustrated or annoyed by people or things or life and all the, pull away from those things, because that is not the zone and energy we're supposed to be operating in. We are spiritual beings having a human experience. We need to be operating in love and in compassion and empathy like 99% of the time. And when we find our devices are pushing us into a negative space, let's pull away from it. And 16, of course, give yourself a break. Be more compassionate with yourself. Be more compassionate with yourself. I went a little bit over. I appreciate you. Thank you so much. I know we had a bumpy start here, but I hope that how to effectively deal with sudden life changes, I hope the information I shared today you found to be beneficial and helpful. And listen to this as many times as you like. Pull up a tablet or your phone or however you do what you do and take notes and jot these down. And when you find, especially as we come to the close of a new year, of 1 year, getting ready for a new year, you might find yourself in kind of this strange space and feeling there's a need for adjustment and change, but how to go about doing it. Or you are finding it's just changing and you're having to figure out, how do I participate in this? This is just naturally happening. These tips that I shared are going to be so helpful for you. Okay. I mean, so helpful. Okay. I will, I think it's going to be important for me to highlight some of these again and post them on our webpage, core3tx.com, on a blog, so that you have those there. Because these tips, I guarantee you, time and time again, you will come back to them and refer to them again. They're that good. Okay. So as we get ready to close, once again, thank you so much for your time and your attention and your participation with thumbs up, with subscribing. I appreciate you so very much. Words cannot convey that. So much so, I am setting nothing but love in its highest form, pure intention, and sending out nothing but good vibes your way, from my hands to yours, reaching out and touching somebody's hands, making this world a better place. Please know this and remember this. You matter. You are worthy. And you are oh so loved. And if in any one of those areas you have any doubt or don't think of that for yourself at all, please reach out to me. All right, please. I would love to come alongside you and support you and help you to do well and be well in every area of your life. This is Megan here with Core3 Harmony Wellness Services. I appreciate you. Have a beautiful rest of your week. I look forward to seeing you next Tuesday as we dive in deep, lean into gratitude and how we can do that on a daily basis. Gratitude and the practice of gratitude. Many blessings.